Hello, this is Joe Garcia, and it's the Global Ambassador. It's my honor and pleasure to spend some time with you wherever you are on the internet around the world. I see people, we've got people from Asia and Europe and Eastern Europe and throughout North America. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Today's topic is on prospecting and recruiting to explode your business. You can be involved in the NHD Global business. You can be involved in a network marketing business. You can be involved in a coaching business. Whatever business that you have applied your skill sets to over the last number of years, this is probably the most important aspect to your business that will help you flourish for a long time. So I would recommend, ladies and gentlemen, to take out a pen and paper. This webinar will be recorded, will be put up on my steamteam.ca site, so you can go back and review it, but make sure you take some notes. One of the things that I learned a long time ago, going to seminars and trainings and now watching webinars, I take a lot of notes. Not only do I take a lot of notes, as I'll review the notes and look at the notes that resonate with me. And then I'll implement those strategies very quickly after I've watched, listened to a training session. So it's real critical that today I'm going to give you some golden nuggets that have allowed me to build a business in more than 50 countries, doing about $2 billion in sales and helping 50 people, actually 52 people now, to get to $1 million incomes. So my humble self here today, I know what I'm talking about. I'm giving you the strategies that can help you explode your business. So please take my advice here today. Implement some of the strategies I'm going to share with you so you can go out and get some amazing results here over the next year for yourself and for your family. For those of you who don't know who I am, I've spent the last, now it's going to come up to June 23rd, 1993 is when I started my life as an entrepreneur in the great industry of network marketing and direct sales. These people on the screen here were some of my coaches and mentors that I looked up to. And when I got involved in the business, I asked myself the one question that had changed my life. And then I started asking my coaches and mentors. And that one question was, what is the one skill set that I need to develop that will pay for my dreams? That's all I wanted to know, is what was the one skill set that I needed to develop. There was that one skill set that I needed to develop. What to make my dreams come true? What do I need to do? What is that? And after about several months of asking the right questions, when you ask the right questions, you're going to always get the right answers. And that one answer always came back to me was, Joe, if you learn how to prospect and recruit people into the business and share the product, share the business, you're going to reach your goals and your dreams. And if you do it long enough to enough people, you're going to fail your way to the top. So the strategies I'm going to share with you here today is everything that I've done over the years, again, to develop a business that has done $2 billion in sales since 2001. So you see me on the left side there, in my mid-20s, very green, but I had a lot of desire. My desire was so hot that if I was walking, it was like I was walking on a bed of coals every single hour of every single day, because I wanted this lifestyle. I wanted it so bad. And I'm going to reiterate to you today, is I'm going to share with you the strategies and the mindset that took me from that little boy there to an entrepreneur that has traveled the world into more 50 countries, helped 50 plus people become $1 million earners. The great thing, so back in 1993 when I got started, there was no World Wide Web. Most of the business that we would do was basically in our backyard. to do it in the United States, I'm here from Toronto, Canada, or over in Asia or Europe, was a faraway dream. It was much more difficult. Today, an average entrepreneur, and I want to really change a lot of your mindsets today, whether you're in Africa or you're in China or you're down in Florida in the United States, I want to help you change your limiting beliefs. Today, the world is in your own backyard because of what we're doing today. For example, I'm on the internet. Hundreds of people all over the world are watching this internet, this webinar. They're dialing on a number, hearing it on the phone. They will be watching and reviewing this in the future. Technology has allowed us to expand our belief systems to, wow, what is really possible? So whether you're living in South America or in Africa or in Europe or in Asia, you can build, particularly in network marketing, you can build a massive global business because of technology. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. My parents emigrated to Canada before I was born from Europe back in the 60s. And for them to communicate with their parents, they had to send a telegram because it was too expensive to use a phone long distance. In my grandparents' village, there was only one phone. It was prohibited. The cost was prohibited to use it. So they would send a telegram. 4 weeks later and get to my grandparents' home. And it'd take another 4 weeks to get back to my parents. Can you imagine now, 40, 50 years later, the technology today, my grandparents have a granddaughter in Paris where they can get on, video Skype, or they can get on FaceTime with their Apple phone and just communicate with my sister and their granddaughter like they were live. Technology has so changed the way we do our business. The last 5 years, just think about what technology has done with our lives in the last 5 to 10 years. It's obliterating industries and creating new ones. It's creating millionaires. So today, the first thing I want to share with all of you is that the world is full of abundance and prosperity. And it's the way you look at it will allow you to take advantage of it and make the kind of money that you deserve. It's so much prosperity and abundance. It blows you away. When I started building my NHD Global business and going into the trenches in China and throughout Russia and Eastern Europe and all over Europe and Asia, all over North America, it's amazing what I've been able to see and experience over the last 15 years. And it's changed so much. And I was lucky enough to have the conscious level, to grow a business and take advantage of this prosperity and abundance. And hopefully today, I'm going to give you and help you with this conscious level to allow you to start reaching your goals and your dreams. And one of the things I want to just share with you here today is for those of you, and most of you are on this line, are in network marketing. Most of you are involved in NH2 Global. And it's real important when you go out and prospect and recruit in your business is that you really believe that your business will change the lives of people. So I want to spend some time with you just to help you believe what's going on with network marketing globally. Well, yeah, most of you know it's a business where you can work from home. Can you imagine with me? I've got a couple of computers, got a couple of iPads, a fax machine, which I rarely use anymore. It's amazing. In the 90s, when I got my fax machine, I thought it was in heaven. What an incredible technology, right? And I built a $2 billion business in 14 years from my home. How is that possible? This industry allows you to do that. You can work from home. No operational costs. The only operational cost I have is my long distance, my internet. When I decide to travel and help teams around the globe, you don't have to carry any inventory. There's no employees. Before I got involved in network marketing, I ran a franchise. I had employees. It was a headache. People calling sick, relying on teenagers. It was chasing money, low startup costs. In my franchise, I invested 6 figures plus, and I was making barely 6 figures a year. Here, I invested less than, actually a little bit more than $2,000, and I've made multiple millions. Does that make sense? You can become your own boss. You don't have to be, you be your own boss, which creates the freedom in your life. Very ideal for busy individuals. And more importantly, is if you want to create wealth in your life and abundance and prosperity and a great lifestyle, it's about finding a way where you can make money while you sleep, creating residual income. These are statistics in 2012. Network marketing today in 2014 did over $300 billion in sales globally. Let's compare it with some of the other industries. The NFL, number one sporting franchise in the world, $9.5 billion. Taking it to the movie industry, $80 billion. Organic products, just under $100 billion. Look what's going on with network marketing globally. And you know that this is the only industry that shares the wealth, with the people. So over $300 billion in sales, over $100 billion in commissions are being paid out. And it's growing fast, very fast. For those of you who have not read my Global Paradigm Shift Manifesto, you can go on my website, whyjoegarcia.com. Download it, or you go on Facebook, search for the Global Paradigm Shift Manifesto. And I talk about what's going on in network marketing, what I've seen traveling around the globe. I'm not one of those guys that built my business just behind the internet. I've gone into countries, started countries from scratch, helping people in the trenches. So I've been able to experience things that 99% of people, even in network marketing, have not experienced. The industry is exploding, and it's because of the internet. It's because it's becoming self-evident. Stephen Covey, one of the great author, best-selling author, and he talks about his network marketing has come of age. It's undeniable that it has become a way to entrepreneurship and independence. Millions of people. It is becoming self-evident. Where can you find a business where you can coach and train and develop people? Work from home, coach, train, and develop yourself, where you're raising your conscious level to the point where you can feed your family, not for this generation, for multiple generations to come. And that's been my vision and my why building this NH2 Global brand globally, is I want to create a legacy where I'm able to pass my philosophies down and my income down to not only my kids and my grandkids, my great-grandkids, my extended family, that I was an entrepreneur that was helping people, not because I wanted to make the money, it's because I have a passion in helping people get to where they want to go. That's the reason why I'm doing this webinar. So let's look at the basics of prospecting. Before we get into some of the strategies, the basics are just as important. When I first got started in the industry, one of the first things that I learned in every self-help book that has ever been around and produced talks about this one aspect, which is your thoughts become things. And I thought, wow, how is that possible? How is our thoughts? You mean that I'm a combined? Where I am today is based on all the thoughts that I've been focused on over the last number of years of my life. And this is why I've got the results. And I thought about that back then, and the more books that I read, about this, the more I started to raise my conscious level. So it's real important, and this is what I continue to personally develop, is ignorance is not bliss, ladies and gentlemen. We've been taught in our society, if we're ignorant, what we don't know will never hurt us. In today's world, because of technology, what we don't know will hurt us. The middle class is being left behind. It's just not good enough to go to college and university now and focus on a program that will never get you a job or help you become an entrepreneur. You got to continue to learn and develop. And I'll tell you why. The more you learn every day, not every other day, not once a week, if it becomes your main purpose in life to raise your conscious level, you will be able to overcome your beliefs, the programs that have been built into society, into your brain, into your mind, that are causing you to say, well, I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm too fat. I can't be successful because I'm too fat. I should look this way. This is why I'm not succeeding. Or you're not good enough. You're not good enough as that person down the street or your brother or your sister. All these programmings, these negative programmings, is once you start to raise your conscious level, you understand that human beings are just like computers. You program what's in a human being, and these are the results that are coming out. So it's real important that you understand how important it is in life to increase your mindset, to develop yourself personally. It is our God-given right. I come from a belief. It was not always the belief, but I built into this belief that we already know everything there is to know when we get on this earth. All we have to do is start to remember it again. The challenge is based on our society, the parents that we grow up with, our extended family, what we are reading as kids, what our culture is. We are programmed in several different ways that as adults, it stops us, it blocks us from getting what we want in life. And most of those blocks come with, are based on money. So it's real important. Every day you're developing your conscious level. I have a philosophy. If I help people raise their conscious level and develop themselves, they'll figure out the rest. Surround yourself with the best. It's real important to find a mentor and have coaches. So I would recommend, just think about this. If you take your top 5 friends that you spend the most amount of time with, divide their income by 5, and more than likely your income's at that level. So if you want to grow your income and develop yourself as an entrepreneur, you better start surrounding yourself from the best. When I got started in this business, I was hounding those people, my coaches that you saw on the slide there. I was hounding them multiple times daily. I didn't care if they felt I was bothering them. I wanted to know. If I had a question, I was on the phone. If there was a training, I made sure that I was there. They passed me on a series of training tapes. I would listen to it. If they told me to go to Florida and drive 21 hours, which I did, straight to go and watch a few hours of presentations, I did that because I wanted to become the best. I wanted to be like them and other people. So surrounding yourself with the best, finding a mentor or raise your conscious level. It will do more than books and tapes if you surround yourself. And you got to be on them, help them understand that you really want to reach your goals and your dreams. And this is something I don't understand. And somewhat I do understand, where people get involved in our business, for example. They got so many great mentors, and they're listening to their brother-in-laws and their cousins and extended family, and not listening to people that are making a fortune. That's a definition of insanity. The basics of prospecting start with you. 90% of people that will join you in your business will start because of you, how you feel about yourself. So when you look yourself in the mirror, what is looking back at you? I can relate to that. When I got started as that little boy, on a scale of 1 to 10, I was probably a -10. But my commitment level was well over 100. When people sat in front of me, no matter what they thought of me, they knew that I was committed and I was going places because I exuded that commitment. You also need to understand, as a leader or upcoming leader, that you need to start developing the skill sets where you will get the long-term results. You can't just throw money at problems and expect to get results. You can't just throw money to raise your conscious level and expect to get results. Every athlete knows that they have to practice every single day on their craft to become one of the best, to become an elite athlete. Not every other day, not once a month. They got to do it daily. So this is one of the reasons why I developed this site, steamteam.ca, where people can go on there, and if you want to learn about how to improve your mindset, it's there. You want to learn how to prospect, it's there. You want to learn how to become a leader, it's there. You want to learn how to become an entrepreneur, it's there. One of the best avenues for those of you who have a job and are developing your dream on a part-time basis is turn your car into university. I went for a jog this morning and it had 7K. What was I listening to? Personal development CD. And I've listened to that CD thousands of times. And I'm just jogging away and listening it, becoming me. See if we can get this. Okay, so now once you have this personal development down, again, it's very important. I'll go back to that. It's because it's such a passion of mine. You got to work on yourself every day. I can't say that enough. You can't miss a day, because if you do, the weeds will take control. One of the master teachers of the world, Jesus Christ, there's a great parable on there, a parable of the farmer. He says, are you not like a farmer? If a farmer does not take care of his seeds every day, the weeds will take control. He doesn't say every other day. He doesn't say once a month. He said every day. Particularly in today's world, that is critical because there's so much distractions now. It's just unbelievable how many distractions that can take you off of your goal and your dream. Okay, now, the essence of life is based on your why. I know a lot of you are listening here today probably don't know what your why is, or you're afraid of your writing it down because deep down inside you're programmed that how can I ever have that dream home, or how can I ever have that trip, that vacation of a lifetime? Because you're programmed in a way that prevents you from going after your dreams. We're taught as children, you're not to, not to visualize and let our imagination go, because it's not productive. That's just how the mind works. It's incredible when you start to understand what the mind works. And I'm just going to give you a lesson. I've done a number of trainings on this. I don't have the time here today to go into it. But if you go into steamteam.ca and you go into business mastery, webinars, and mindset, done a lot of trainings on how the mind works. And basically, is thoughts do become things. Science is now proving that. You can just go online now and Google that. You'll see thousands of studies. It'll blow you away what is going on. And it's real important to understand is the subconscious mind. We've got two minds. We got the conscious mind, which we're dealing with right now, and we got the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is firing off millions of receptors at a time, whereas the conscious mind is only firing off thousands of receptors at a time. So the goal as human beings is to program the subconscious mind, which is connected to everything that is in the world, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, and program it in a way where you're focused on what you really want. So if you go out in the next 30 days and I do a training on this, again, I don't want to get into this too much, and teach your subconscious mind by some of the principles I've shared in those trainings and how to program it, you will get your why. So some of the things is taking out, a dream board and putting things up on a board, visualizing 15 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day that you've already achieved your why. It has to be very specific, right? Getting in a situation you've already experienced your dream. So, for example, one of our new distributors that signed up recently, his goal was to get a Ferrari, to buy his dream car. So I told him, go out and rent one for a day so you can experience it. He came back and said, Joe, I want this more than ever. I want it. I can feel it. He had the day, he called it the best day of his life because he could feel himself in that car. So what movie do you play every day? Guaranteed. Look back in the last year of your life. Start looking back in the last 12 months. Start writing down what movie were you focused on in the last 12 months. Guaranteed, most of you were focused on fear, resentment, jealousy, lack of results, why me, pity, anger, focused on bills that are not being paid or having challenge being paid, focused on something that was in the past. So if you're playing that movie constantly, what you're telling your subconscious mind is you're programming it. This is the way you want to run your life in the future. For you to change, top performers understand to change their movie. And when they change their movie, they start to change, their future starts to become their ideal future. And this is the secret that I started to learn. I started putting the pieces of the puzzle together, and I saw the more I was focused on my movie every day, not every other day, the more that I got closer to my dreams and great things were happening. I wasn't having my left foot out the door waiting for bad things to happen, or, oh, this is not going to work. I spend all this money. I'm going to quit, right? I wasn't doing that, because if you do that, you're programming your subconscious mind. It's going to happen. So I'm going to share with you why you do this every day, why you work on yourself every day. And I've shared this in many of my trainings. Several years ago, NASA, which is the North American Space Agency, did a study, and they took these concave glasses where people were seeing right side up, wrong side up, so upside down. And they put it on several astronauts, and their job was to keep it on 24/7 and monitor their progress. You know that each one of those astronauts, after day 26, started seeing right side up. Started seeing right side up. They did a second study where they just changed it once. They just changed one little thing on that study. You know that by day 15, they took it off for one day. It took them another 26 days in a row to start seeing right side up. I was so excited about the study. It's because it told me what I knew about the brain, that you take one day off working on yourself. You're going to take another 26 days just to develop the momentum to get things on. This is the challenge with most people, is they go up and they go down. They have a bad day, they have a good day. One day they're doing the things, and the next day they're not doing the things because the weeds are taking control. I hope from now on you remember this study, because it really proves what happens. So over this period of 26 days, those astronauts knew wanted to see right side up. They developed enough neural pathways in the brain that allowed them to see right side up. I've talked about consistency here today. Real critical that you develop a consistent life. All those guys there, and you saw Dan Cattle there, all those coaches and mentors, and I can humbly say today I've surpassed them double and triple and quadruple. It's because I remained consistent all my life. I didn't let anything get me off track. I don't look back on my past results because all I do, I've trained my mind to focus. No matter how successful I've been in the past, it doesn't matter anymore. My life starts from what I'm doing right now and what I'm thinking about right now. So it's real important to get in your habit of creating 1 to 2 prospects a day in your business. You want to be a little bit more aggressive, go up to 3. My first year in NHT Global, I talked to over 900 people. I had over 800 no's. Joe, it's not the right time for me. Joe, I can't see that this will work. Joe, I don't want to work with you because you're a loser. I've had that, people that were cruel. But it didn't matter to me. I just focused on my dream and my goal. I knew this business is going to change a life. Can you imagine if I quit after a few months? And it was really tough, guys, really tough, of the things that I had to go through, with the startup. And imagine today if I were to quit like most people did in their first year, and how many people today would not have been better off. And I'd go to bed at night thinking, wow, look at all the people that you have directly and indirectly changed their lives around the globe because of your persistence and your consistency. I love this quote by Og Mandino. He's one of my favorite authors. I would recommend just go to an old bookstore, pick up his books, go online, his CDs. The greatest miracle in the world, the greatest salesman in the world. I shall persist until I succeed. And all his materials in story form. Love his stuff. Okay, we're going from consistency is having a prospecting mindset. One of the things that entrepreneurs have, because we all go through one time or another, is financial challenges. So one of the things that entrepreneurs go through, most people go through in life. And when you're prospecting, this is one of the reasons why you got to develop yourself personally and work on yourself, is you want to create a posture out there that, number one, you know what you're doing. Number two, that you're committed. Believe me, if you're not committed, if you're wishy-washy, your foot's out the door, no one's going to join your business. They will pick it up subconsciously. Never plead with people when you're showing the business, or plead them to try the product. If there's any sense of desperation, you're not going to be very successful in the business. My biggest mindset that I created for myself is I began with the end in mind. I already saw myself as successful. I went out and in those years, I'd go out and look at homes, $1 million homes, pretending they were mine. I would go and put on $2,000-$3,000 suits, pretending I could buy. And I did buy them. I couldn't afford them. I went ahead and bought them because the way it made me feel. I went and drove, even I wasn't really into cars. I went and drove luxury cars because the way it made me feel. And I understood something. If I could raise my feeling about myself, I would become unstoppable. That vision was in front of me every day. I have a check in my wallet made out to me for $1 million that I wrote 20 years ago. I still have it today. I carry it around with me every day, even though I've reached that goal and much, much more, but I still have that. What are you carrying around every day with you? So you also need to know you don't want to rely on just one method. The internet is a great game changer. It allows us to reach out to a lot of people, not just locally, but globally. And I'm going to go into my strategy here in a second. You got to know your target market. Know your target market. There's 3 types. 3 types of people that you'll come across. Posers, I like to call them tire kickers. Then you have amateurs, and then you have professionals. Not everybody starts as professionals, but tire kickers, the posers, are people that are the wannabes. They'll come into your business, maybe buy some product, but they'll never do anything. Uh, if you're in the coaching profession, they'll try to waste a lot of your time but never pay you for it. They'll always go on your free stuff, right? These are people that are seminar junkies sometimes, that'll go to seminar after seminar but never apply it into their life. It's just the way they are. They have so many programming challenges in their life that it doesn't allow them, so many limited beliefs, it doesn't allow them to move forward. They may buy some product. They may introduce the business to one or two people and say, well, Joe, the business doesn't work. Those are what we call posers. The amateurs are people that want to develop the business part-time. They want to learn. They're into learning, right? But they haven't developed the skill sets that will make them professionals. The goal here today is how to get from, amateur to become a professional. When I got started, I knew the people that I was going to attract to my business were going to be the people like me. So I wrote down exactly the type of person I wanted to attract in the business. Success-oriented, motivated, team-oriented, positive attitude. I started writing all these attributes. And I said, Joe, you should be one of those things too. He said, you cannot attract people into your life that you are not. So you need to become that person. That's why personal development is so important, to start attracting great people. If you feel that you're not there yet, this is the great part of network marketing. You have coaches and mentors that you can plug into. You can plug into the system. They can help you. In my first year in the business, because of my age, lack of confidence, all I did is provide the people for my sponsors, my mentors, and they helped me. I provided the people, they helped me with the rest. Men and women are much different, and if you don't know that, you're in trouble. You're either divorced on a deserted island or whatever. The men and women are very different. They look at business differently. I found over the years, again, please understand that there are some women that think like men and some men that think like women. But overall, men and women are different. So they need to be prospected in a different way. Usually with women, if they get an emotional attachment to a product or they get emotionally attached, they will get real excited afterwards. With men, it's usually all about the money. Men are very visual. They can't see themselves making money. They will never say yes to the business. Keep that in mind. With women, for example, in NHT Global, we have an incredible product, the facelift, which is an incredible industry. My goal is to get that product on women's faces, especially the ones that I'm prospecting, because I know I'll have a better chance in recruiting them into the business, because they'll get a positive result and they'll say, oh my God, this is an incredible product. I need to learn more, etc., etc. A couple of things that I want to just share with you also about men and women is we also have different personality types. Again, I'm not going to go into too much about this, but this is something that I've learned over the years. I've talked to thousands of people, and I started recognizing that people are made differently. Personality types, because of their backgrounds or their environment. So you cannot treat people the same way. There's not a cookie cutter approach. So this is one of the other reasons why you're building your conscious level up. You start to understand, because we tend to communicate the way we internalize things. Big mistake when it comes to business. You always have to communicate the way that other people internally take in things. So there's basically 4 types of personalities. I'm going to go through this quite quick. First type is red. We all know reds. Reds are bulls. They love to be up on stage. They're charismatic. They're loud. They're controversial. They love, they seem to always attract controversy. They don't shy away from controversy. They, they love recognition. If you're going to push a red up into that corner, they're going to fight you tooth and nail. They want to be heard constantly. You got the other end of the spectrum, the yellows. Yellows are shy people. They're introverted. They don't like to be the life of the crowd. They don't want to be, the center of attention. You'll see yellows usually, in meetings. You'll see them as support people, putting up product displays and doing everything in the background, right? They detest confrontations. So if a yellow meets a red and there's some confrontations or that red is being bullying that yellow will back away and detest that red. Green people are people that are teachers. They flourish in helping and working with people. You'll see them volunteer in volunteer situations and go overseas and helping people. They flourish in a network marketing environment because we're coaching and training and developing people. They're people persons. So if there's a problem in the organization, they're going to always look for solutions. And then you have the blue people that are very visual. They're smart. They tend not to finish tasks. They're always trying to find a way. There must be a better way here, right? They're very detailed oriented. The engineers, the accountants of the world. So once you understand the 4 aspects, personality types of people, for example, in the red, I met with the red the other day. I knew that she was a red within the first couple of minutes. And I started painting a picture of her being on stage with me all around the globe. She just loved it. She says, Joe, send me that information. I really want to take a look at it. It's because I tapped into her values. If she was a yellow and I said that yellow would be running down the street, would shut me off, and moving forward, right? So it's real, again, when you start to develop your conscious level, you start to understand what these little intricacies of people, and I hope I gave you a quick little training session on personality types. That's all you really need to know. You want a more in-depth on-steam team on the first 90 days, Joe Garcia Success System. You can go in there and learn more about it. And contacting and inviting, you can learn more about the personality types. You don't have to sponsor an army. That's the great thing about network marketing over any profession out there. If you're a coach or you're in a business that there's not residual income, where you have to sign new people up and and there's no residual base there, you have to sponsor a lot of people into that business. You have to, that revolving door is coming in. In network marketing, if you sponsor the right people or develop leaders in the right way, which we have here, it's quality over quantity. One person can do more than 10,000 people, guaranteed. One person can do more than 10,000 people. So we have many millionaires in our team that have sponsored less than 20 people. But they're multimillionaires because they developed quickly with those people, attracted the right people. They continue to sponsor, but they're, again, understand it's quality over quantity all the time. Follow up. This is where most people fall apart. And when you're presenting a business and you're providing a tool, it's real important within 24 hours, real important within 24 hours that people are followed up constantly. And you got to be prepared to provide a tool that is different than the previous one that you shared. So you're always providing them new information. The average prospect, doesn't matter what business it is, will make a decision after, on average, 5 different looks. And that's what will separate you from professionals and amateurs and the ones that continue to struggle. You got to set up your ISP or USP. USP is unique selling proposition. Unique selling proposition. And for example, if you're a coach or if you're here in network marketing and you consider yourself a coach and you say, well, I'm just a coach, you know, it's not creating a benefit for that person. Or saying something like, I'm an NH to global distributor. Who cares? You have to create a unique selling proposition where it gives value to the person. So when I'm meeting people, they're always going to ask me, when I ask them, what do you do for a living? They're always going to ask me what I do for a living. If it's a woman, I use this a lot. I work with a group of doctors that developed the world's first 30-minute non-surgical facelift. We're just launching it in this area through an e-commerce global business. I always get a response. Usually it's, wow, how can I try some of this stuff, right? With men, I usually teach and train people globally develop a 6- and 7-figure income from their home through an e-commerce global, proven global platform. So what happens in this scenario is you're going to have people come back to you and ask more questions. And I'm going to share with you what you do when you do that. So your own commercial is critical to developing your business. It's marketing 101. So most of you know I've been all over the world. Here's an example of some of the successes we've had globally. Our China, Hong Kong launch. There's me on stage in the Russian launch. And people always ask me, Joe, why and how did you do it all this? It's because, guys, and I want to just give you a reminder, and this is a great time in the training for you to understand this, is I've stayed consistent. Everything that I'm sharing with you is Joe Garcia, plus my picture up on the wall, and that's me. I'm doing every single thing that you're doing, that I've done, and I've created habits. It's like brushing teeth for me. It's like exercising every morning for me. It's like having breakfast every morning. I've created these habits that are simple disciplines repeated over time that's allowed me to become successful. Did it happen overnight? No. It happened over time. Simple disciplines repeated over time. So let's look at the tools. So in order to recruit and develop people, you need to have tools, third-party tools. And the reason why is that you want to present to people more with less time. So you want to spend more people with less time. So if you're able to do that, and you also want to create a duplication where people say, I can do that. So for example, in our business, we have the facelift demo, very duplicatable. Get it on people's face. They see that it works. Wow, how can I get involved in business? How can I buy the product? The other thing is, prior to this presentation, Andreas Papakostas, one of our great leaders, did a global presentation. You can get one of those presentations where you get on Steam Team, put it on a DVD, take it to your next door neighbor, take it to a next prospect. If I gave you this on an e-commerce global business we're launching here locally, would you take the time to watch it? Person will say, sure. Well, this is one of my last ones. Can I go and pick it up tomorrow from you? Will you watch it tonight? How easy is that? Webinar presentations, global webinar presentations. We've got hundreds of people around the globe on this line watching this presentation, thousands in the future that will watch the recorded presentation. Websites, is another great tool. Here's the challenge in today's world, guys. Depending on where you are, but because of the way life is today, at one time in our generation, in our young generation, in the last, let's say 10 years ago, websites were great. People would spend a lot of time with websites. It was cool, and most people had desktop computers, right? So the laptop computers came, which allowed portability, right? And then the tablets came, where people are watching TV and they're also watching their tablet, or they're on Facebook, they're doing something. You go outside today, and what are people doing? They're watching TV on their phones, watching sports events on their phones. They're communicating with people on their phones. So we live in a society that's very distracted. So a lot of people, when they go on websites, and you get them on a website as a first look, they more than likely will skim through it. So with your top prospects, it's real important that you show them, you want to control what you show them. This is why a DVD presentation is really good, or a live webinar, or sit down with them one-on-one, because you're controlling the message. And then you can take them to a website. I'm losing my voice here. I'm getting real excited. Brochures, another great aspect, and this is why coaches and mentors are very important. In my early days, and I still recommend this, I'd have a live prospect on the line, very excited. Even though they were somewhat excited, and told them a little bit about the business, and I would ask them, give me a couple of minutes, I can introduce you to my business partner. He can share with you his story. And all of a sudden, I would just three-way into my business partners. They would share the story. Even before those people took a look, I created a sense of urgency. I got them to first base, which is real important, because most prospects are between home plate and first base. And if you don't get them to first base, it's tough to get them to second and third base after that. Trainings are a great way to expose people, because you're giving value to people. You're not actually focused on prospecting right away, but you're sending them to trainings that will allow them to learn more about the business, or give them some value in life. So these are some of the tools that we have. Most businesses are very similar, that will allow to expose the business to people. Okay, I expect it to be an hour, so I'm going to be another 10, 15 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope the webinar won't kick us off. It's 5 minutes to the hour. So I've got some more slides, and I want to go into the strategies. This is probably the reason why I am where I am today, is I never allowed myself to even think about quitting. I made a 100% commitment to my family. You know why? It's because my why was bigger than anything else. My why was bigger than my fears. My why was bigger than my doubts. My why was bigger than anything, any emotion that I would come across. I knew I needed to make a commitment to make it work for my life. And when people saw me, and they felt that from me, and I really believe today that's been my number one attribute that made a big difference in my life. So let's look at, and going into the strategies, why people join network marketing companies. About half of the people will join because of supplement their income. About a third really believe that they can turn it into a full-time income, into a career type income. About a 10 to 20% are looking to get cheaper discounts on products. And then you have a good percentage of people that come in, and these are a lot of the yellow personalities. They come in because they feel they're shy, and they want to meet new people, and this is a great way to develop friendships in the business world. So keeping that in mind, the goal of a entrepreneur is you got to expand your database, and you've really got to develop your contact and inviting skills. Yeah, I don't want to go into contact and inviting, because this is a whole training by itself. You go on steamteam.ca, under first 90 days, there is an hour training on contact and inviting. I would recommend that you watch it over and over again and master that. There's really 3 types of contacting and inviting people to look at your business. 3 ways to do that. And it's real important to use the right approaches, because when you use the right approaches, you're going to get the best type of results. So when we start in our business, you always want to start in your warm market. And it's amazing to me, one of the most limited beliefs that people have is that they don't know anybody. And what they're really saying is, I'm afraid to go to my contacts because I really don't believe in the business. And I really don't believe in myself. Okay? And I understand that there's some fears that go along that, and that's something that we have to work through. That's why I started off building, building an understanding for network marketing and why this is the greatest industry going now around the world. So your next step, what you want to do is you want to develop your own business card. Real important that you add your picture to your business card. This is a copy of mine. I'm actually changing it again. And this allows me to brand myself. Most people do not throw away business cards that have pictures on it. If you see my card, I don't see any independent distributor there. It's the president of KJ Enterprises, president and founder. And if you see, I've got initials beside my card. This is for recruiting purposes. Mine says international recruiting trainer, millionaire and trainer you can use, millionaire mentor trainer, RHN, red-headed nurse, have some fun with it. This only when I pass my cards out to people respond, what is IRT? This allows me to talk about my business. And here at NHT, we've got postcards for Skindulgence. Is another card that you can use. And DVDs. You can use a DVD presentation for your business card, passing it out to people, following up with people. These are just all strategies that will allow you to brand yourself and develop yourself as a real multi-million-dollar entrepreneur. Let's look at social media. And one of the methods that I've really done extremely well with, sponsored a lot of people that I've met initially on social media. There's a couple of ways, couple of things that you don't do in social media. You never prospect people the first time you meet them. Those are amateurs. And I see network marketing people and other people in other industries, they make that mistake over and over and over again. It's the quickest way to be part of the No Friends Left Club, right? Second thing you don't do, the goal is always to build a relationship, okay? So please, it's real important not to have an agenda with a lot of these people, or an agenda where you're saying, I'm going to recruit that person, I'm going to do this or not. It's about building relationships, networking. So what you do is as you add friends that are like-minded people, and you can do that on Facebook, it's very easy, or even on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's another great tool. And what I do is I'll go in, for example, look at people that are posting things that I respect, that people that have good head on their shoulders, and they're someone I'd like to meet. I'll start liking their pictures or liking their comments, and then also will comment on them. I'll start to engage that way with them. Okay. Then what happens is they start to do that to me. I'll go out and instant message them and say, thank you very much for liking my picture. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for liking this. And I'll start to engage, build some kind of common repertoire with them over a period of over several months. Okay. Eventually what will happen, I use private messaging constantly with these people, right? Sorry that I've got my phone in the background, which I can't turn off for whatever reason, on the background here going. So as I'm connecting with these people over a period of months, and again, you can do that with people locally, tap into their networking groups that develop. So using the internet is an incredible way to develop relationships. and develop contacts and add them to your database. And eventually there will be a time where it's perfect timing where you can show them, if they would be open to taking a look at your business. And I've done that over a period of time. So let me walk you through the steps. Number one, start adding people that are like-minded. Maybe they're in network marketing, they're in personal development. Find something in common. Start liking their pictures, their comments. Make some comments to them. Private message them when they like your picture or comments, and say something nice about them. So you're communicating back and forth. Then you can get into stuff. Some personal stuff like what are they doing, what's their business, that kind of stuff. Where do they need help most with? And if they're local, eventually get to meet with them. What happens? You start building relationships. You're adding to your database, and timing is critical in a prospecting area. Sometimes it takes 2 years, 3 years that I've sponsored people, 4 years, 3 months, 2 months, because I'm adding to my database constantly. I'm adding to my database. So you take an Excel spreadsheet, put their names there, their email address, their cell phone, and you start adding to your database with this. And there'll be a time, one time or another in the future, where you may be able to engage in business with them. You do that over time, you're going to sponsor a lot of good people. Again, we don't have to do an army, and it's attracting the right people into the business. With LinkedIn's a little bit different strategy that I've used. And I just sponsored a gentleman last week from LinkedIn. And basically, as you look at the emerging markets around the world, especially with NH2 Global, you see people in Asia and Africa, in some of the emerging markets that we're going into. And you can just thank them for their connection. And basically, I'll write down, hey, John, I noticed you're in Nigeria. And the company I'm affiliated with are looking to launch in Nigeria, looking for incredible quality, business-minded people to help us expand the market. I don't know if it's for you, but based on your profile, maybe you can help us. Write something like that to them. And usually about 60% of the time, I'm getting a response, especially if they're active on LinkedIn. So this is a great way. So you're not really approaching them. You're going in through the side door, and you're meeting new people around the globe. You do that 4, 5, 6 times a day. All it takes is 30 minutes, adding new people, looking at their profiles, and you'll be able to have so many new people in the pipeline looking at your business. Okay, so I wanted to spend a lot more time on this part of it, but I'm going to take another 5 minutes to finish up here. So in the early days, before the internet, and I find a lot of people have been, and what I just shared with you is basically a 3-foot rule for Facebook and social media. But in the early days, one of the ways that I developed myself was I met a lot of people, and I wasn't afraid to approach people with regards to the business. Not afraid on social media, and there's a right way of doing it, and there's a wrong way of doing it. So back then, I'd be going to malls, I'd go to networking groups, I'd build my database, I'd get to know as many professionals and entrepreneurs in my local area, and I've always had a USP. And the USP, which unique selling proposition, allows you to focus on building relationships. And basically anyone that I've met that I feel that I need to talk to because they look sharp, there's someone I really want to meet, just based on their aura, I'm always going to ask them what they do for a living. And the question they're going to ask me back always is, what do you do for a living, after they go for 15, 20 minutes. One of the questions that I ask, depending on the conversation, are you earning all the money you want to earn? This is an incredible question that will always have a positive answer coming back. Okay? So usually in a 3-foot approach, I rarely ever approach them on the business. I'm basically, my goal is to connect them and exchange business cards. So if they come back to me and say, mostly everyone says, no, I'm not, I would love to learn more. I've been building myself in this company. It's not working out too well, blah, 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 right? So after the conversation, hey, John, I need to go. Is there an opportunity where we can exchange business cards? So we exchange business cards. So you have the picture on your card, and he'll never forget you or her. Exchange business cards. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to call them back within 24, 48 hours. And I say, John, this is Joe. We met at the bank the other day. I was real impressed with you. Do you have a minute? The reason why I was calling is you told me that you weren't happy with your money situation. You'd love to be making a lot more money. I may have a solution for you. As you know, I help people all over the world build a global business. We're expanding here locally. I don't know if it's for you, but would you be open to learning how you can expand your income? Right? And if he says no, I'm happy where I am or whatever, most people don't. I said, okay, that's fine. Maybe we can reconnect in the next 6 months. I never throw away people. I always have them on my list, The other thing that I will do is if they say yes, I'd like to take a look. What is it? Your goal is not to sell them over the phone. It's just to make an appointment or you're meeting and you bring your sponsor with you, or you have your sponsor call in if they're international, et cetera, et cetera. Or if they're quite a ways away, you can do a live webinar presentation with them. Whoop. Okay, so other prospect methods. Okay, as an entrepreneur locally, you've got to get yourself out there. You've got to meet people in the local area. You think locally, expand globally. And you can do this also on the internet. So I've done a lot of trade shows over the years. There's a specific methodology on trade shows. If you like to do trade shows, please email me at yjoegarcia@bell.net, and I can help you out with the right way to do it, the wrong way to do it. Home demonstrations. Network marketing is built through the home. I know a lot of people are not comfortable with that. That's fine. But as we get new people into the business, one of the first things I like them to do is do presentations out of their home. We do that overseas. They like to do it through offices because most people overseas live in small flats, not much room. So as long as you're getting people together, showing a business, showing a product, your business is going to expand much faster. There's thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of networkers starting every day around the world. Most of those people are being sponsored by people that don't know how to train them. They're getting involved in companies that are there's no future for them. So it's real important. And this is one of the things that I learned to do is the timing's everything. So when you have people that are connecting with you, if you want to reach out to as many network marketers as possible, build your database or build relationships. You qualify them as A and B. Put them on your Excel spreadsheet as you're talking to people. What you want to do is you want to give them value. You might want to send them to the Steam Team site, ask them questions. Just start building relationships with people. One of the strategies I use is I looked at magazines and newspapers and people that advertised 6 months, a year ago. These are people that either are amateurs on the way to professionals, and I'll write them down and their phone number. I'll see if they, and more than likely 6 months, a year later, they're either looking at doing something else. They were involved in the wrong business. That's just who entrepreneurs are. You start using this as another prospecting method. You'll be able to really attach yourself to really good people in the future, as long as you build relationships. I'm always building relationships, coaching people, got people coming to me from other companies asking me their opinion, that kind of thing, because I'm always helping people out, building relationships, and the right people come along, because this database I'm constantly adding and developing. Again, you're only as good as your database as you move forward in your business life. Okay, so on to the last couple of slides of many lead generation companies. Again, if you like to go through that route, which I've done and I still do today, again, you can email me and I can help you out with that. One of the strategies I've used recently is newspaper ads. So I target a certain culture, like say for the Chinese culture, put together a quick little capture page on the internet, and I leave my phone number, catered to the Chinese community, launching China, entrepreneurs wanted. We have a specific ad, and it's pulling. Same thing with Russia, so we can choose, especially North America and Europe, Western Europe. There are people all over the place from all different countries, which you can target in their local community newspapers, which is much cheaper, and you get better results than the big newspapers. I've done a lot of local entrepreneurial educational health groups. I speak. That's another area. If you want to develop yourself again through the personal development, start developing your speaking skills and tie into these community functions. It's amazing how many people you get your USP. You start having your cards. You start building relationships with people. How many people will be attracted to yourself, and vice versa in your local market. I've targeted teachers of all professions. Anyone that's involved in self-help and in that type of industry, these are great prospects for businesses. So when you go out to these seminars and these, Anthony Robbins, I'm in there a couple of weeks. I'm going to an Anthony Robbins one. Primarily, I'm going there to network, and I do it professionally. I'm not pitching people on my business. I'm collecting cards. I'm building relationships. See some people that I can see great potential. I'll build more relationships, see where they are, see if they're open. And you do that once in a while, you're going to build and develop and sponsor a lot of good people. So I just talked about international marketing. And some of the things I've done internationally, again, I shared with you what I do in LinkedIn, which exposes me to a lot of international contacts. I just shared with you the newspaper ads to local communities. I'm doing right now targeting the Chicago Russian market, which is massive, and they have a big newspaper there, going to a Russian newspaper. We've done that in California and Vancouver, where they have a big Chinese community. So these little things, been expensive. You can team up with people, do a co-op. Again, what you're doing is you're getting your name, and you're developing more prospects through your cold market contacts. So there's hundreds of other ways to to reach out to people. For years, one of the ways I've shared with people over and over again, where I've taken business cards of people. Back then, they used to have business names of addresses of people on business cards. Today, usually it's just names, and you can look at their addresses online, find their addresses online. But I would write back. Let's say I had, I'll pick Dalibor. Dalibor's in Europe right now. I see him. He's online. Let's say I got his card somewhere. I'll write down Dalibor. I'd love to talk to you about an incredible global e-commerce company just launching here locally. If you're open, give me a call. So I would mail that card back to Dalibor, no return address. Dalibor opens it up. See, he's an entrepreneur, sees his card. So, who's Joe? How did he get my card? And he's going to call me. So when people are calling you, just that you're always in the driver's seat when people are calling you. So that little recruiting technique, I still do today. I'm getting, over the years, I've gotten hundreds and hundreds of prospects that way. I've signed up really good people that way. So know this truth. Your results would be based on your ability to increase your skill sets and persistence and believing in your dream. Ask yourself this question. If it took you 5 years or even 10 years to earn a residual of $10,000 a month, a residual, minimum $10,000 a month, would it be worth it? Just think about that. I had a friend of mine the other day, we were in communication, and he told me that network marketing was hard, or being an entrepreneur was hard. And I thought about it, guys. I really thought about it. And I replied to him, and I got really emotional with the guy because I wanted to get inside. I told him, you know what's really hard? You're getting up. He works in construction. You're getting up at 5 in the morning every day, working to 8 o'clock at night. That's really hard. You know what's really hard? That people out there are waking up 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning just to commute to work so they can get on time. Coming home at 7, 8 o'clock at night, they have a half an hour just to play with their kids before they just go to bed. You know what's really hard? You know what's really hard? Is when their wife says, we haven't vacation in 10 years because we don't have the money. And she's crying there because they can't go on vacation. That's really hard. You know what's really hard? When your daughter is going to kindergarten. Your daughter's going to kindergarten. You need someone to pick them up at school, drop them off at school. And you need someone to babysit them when you and your wife are working. That's really hard. You know what's really hard? When they're going to school and your wife is crying because she has to work, she has to work because she can't take care of their children. That's really hard. You know what's really hard? Where your parents die without vacationing and work, and they really worked hard for yourself, and you weren't able to even spend a dime on them to go on vacation. And when they're on their deathbed, and you have regrets. That's really hard. You know what's really hard? You know what's really hard? When your kids are 18 years old and they want to go to university, and you cannot help them pay for their education. And 4 years later, there is $70,000, $80,000 in debt where they have to pay back. That's really hard. That's really damn hard. You know what's really hard? Where your daughter or son has a project and a school play, and it's during the day, and you cannot make it because your boss won't let you take an hour off. That's really hard. You know what's really hard? And I went through this, ladies and gentlemen. My mom woke up 4 o'clock every morning, get to work at 5. She'd cross a small little highway to buy some donuts for us so we can have some breakfast that morning. And she'd get home at 6 o'clock. Then she and me and my siblings would go and help her clean some offices, and we'd be back at 9:30. That's really hard. And she did that for 25 years just to have a half-decent life, great middle-class life. That's really hard. And when people come into network marketing, they come in entrepreneur, and they say, well, nothing's worked for me for 6 months because I've talked to a few people and it never worked. What's really hard? What's really hard? There's no comparison there, ladies and gentlemen. I spent my whole life, 23 years now, all my adult life. I've gone through all kinds of experiences in this beautiful business. Traveled the world, more than 50 countries. I've seen life changes in people. It's unbelievable. That's the blessing that I've had in this life. And if you learn what I've shared with you here today, and you put it into practice, you will have a great life. Okay? You will go and reach your goals and your dreams. And what I just shared with you was hard. There's no comparison to what an incredible entrepreneur can do in changing the lives of people. So what is worth it? What is worth it? Success happens when 10,000 hours of preparation meet with one moment of opportunity. Challenge you all today, if you want to become a professional, it's going out there and spending the 10,000 hours to become a life changer. Don't let the society tell you that because you didn't get results in 6 months or a year as an entrepreneur, that's time to quit. I work with a lady here at NH2 Global. Her name is Huna. And she was one of our first $1 million income earners. She made $500 her first year. By her third year, she made less than $10,000. By her fifth year, over $1 million. Can you imagine? And her biggest check was over $180,000. She came to the United States, didn't speak one word of English, and she's built an amazing brand around the world. Imagine the difficulties. She was a single mother. Imagine the difficulties that she went through. Imagine if she just quit after her first year, how different her life would be today. Great book, Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. And this is where this 10,000 hour quote comes from. As he studied the most successful people in the world in finance and business, athletes. And the one major denominator that you got is that the average person spent 10,000 hours in their field that allowed them to become the top of their field, where they got major results. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks. I wish I had more time with the prospecting strategies. I may have another webinar here in the next couple of weeks. Just focus on more prospecting strategies. Thank you very much. God bless you all. And happy abundance and prosperity to you all. Have a great day. Thanks very much for joining me. Bye-bye.